Hello and welcome to Book Circle. I'm Earl Wyenberg. This time we will continue our reading of Past Master by R.A. Lafferty. Our hero, Sir Thomas More, otherwise known as St. Thomas More, is taking a tour of the backlands of Astrobe and is at the court, which is to say shack, of the Emperor Charles the 612th, along with all of his very curious retinue. The skulls made an impressive show in their niches on the rude wall. Not all 611 were there. There were, in fact, 13 of them missing, and there were empty niches for them. These were the emperors who had been murdered by being knocked from high peaks into deep ravines, or had been burned beyond recovery in fire traps, or who had died in some other demolishing adventure at the hands of the programmed killers. But most were here, and they provided the mnemonic for the great remembered oral history of the dynasty. More than one of you here is a Tabiz, Charles said. I am emperor, so I am given intuition about such things. The Maxwell leaves bodies behind him, and the Thomas leaves heads behind. The Evita has lived too long to be so young, and I understand this less than the other cases. How do you do it, black-hearted kid? Do you not learn anything at the university, Charlie boy? She asked him. Very long life has been possible on Astrobe for 200 years. They remain on the edge of the breakthrough, they say, but special breakthroughs have been made all through these 200 years. I am one of them. But who wants it, they ask. 9 out of 10 persons on Astrobe ask for termination long before their normal life term is run. They find life so wearying, the golden people. Hell, I don't. Perfection is all the more cloying the more it is perfected. I tell Holy Thomas that this thing, and not the Cathead and Barrio and Feral Strip revolts, is the sickness of Astrobe. The people are so weary of perfection that they ask termination earlier and earlier. Many now ask it as children. What is so perfect about a life that more and more people refuse to live it? I forget your legend, Devil Kid, the Emperor Charles said, though I am certain that I knew it when I had to study the legends of Astrobe in school. Is there not somewhere in it the phrase, go to hell in a handbasket? Yes, there is, Charlie boy. I was naive in my methods and in my direction of revolt, Evita said. The teachers said that there was no hell and no devil, and this angered me. I knew that they were wrong. I had some personal contact with both. They said there was no sin. In particular, they said that children were not able to commit serious sins, and in this I knew that the teachers were sinfully wrong. I decided to go to hell to prove them wrong. I decided to find the devil. What I found first was the old evil scientist of legend, so contrived a man that he was a burlesque of himself. Yet he was a true scientist and a truly evil man. I consorted with him, and he did give me long life and an introduction into certain aspects of evil. I was one of the first successful experiments in longevity. It takes a deep well of bodily and psychic energy to make it work, and I had it. At that time, I thought that he was the devil himself, and that I was Faustina and had made a devil's bargain. Well, he was sound in the biology of the thing, and he gave me what I wanted. There isn't much demand for it now. Eternal youth, who wants it, is the sneer. I did and do want it. For several centuries I have had it. Ah, the holy Thomas and others smile. They do not believe my legend. They will not believe a legend even when they see it in the flesh. Quick Sparrow, you are not yet 20 years, Thomas said. Good Thomas, I am more than 200, the Evita answered. Well, I committed all the old-fashioned abominations in my search for hell. I indulged in fornication and pride and unkindness and intellectual contempt, but I didn't find hell immediately. There is another legend about the boy who had to go clear around his planet to come to his own house. Then he recognized it for the first time. I am the girl who did it, and I did find hell. Golden Astrobe of the Dream is that hell. I don't like it, and I never will, but hell exists. But Golden Astrobe is perfect, child woman, Thomas insisted. It is all perfections rolled into one. Sure it is, good Thomas, all rolled into one package and tied with a golden ribbon. I had been tricked by false teachers who used words to mean their opposites. So have you been tricked, Thomas, and you should be too intelligent for that. Well, let them so misuse terms. Let them call things what they will. If the Cathead thing and the Barrio thing are hell, then I am for hell till a better hell comes along. But I will not accept so extreme a hell as the vision of golden Astrobe. It stifles, it blows out souls like rows of candles. There were rows of candles there in the big shanty room, or tallow tapers at least, there in the place that was Royal Palace and Public House and Skinner's Center, there in the big room that could sleep perhaps 20 people. And the rows of candles were blown out now and then, for the room was badly caulked and the wind had risen outside. A man came in. The ghosts are bad tonight, Emperor, the man said. They have just eaten all the flesh of my wife and left only her bones. Well, I'm working on a king's charm against them, but I don't have it in shape yet, said the Emperor Charles the 612th. The skulls of the old emperors are supposed to inspire me to it, but so far I get nothing but gibberish. I guess the ghosts will just have to be bad tonight. I'm kind of glad she's gone, the man said as he took hydra meat out of the common pot on one of the big wooden forks. But I'll miss her sometimes. We fought a lot, but there was never anyone so much fun to fight with. Now I don't have anybody. What is the ghost bit? Thomas asked as he also began to dip devil meat out of the pot with a wooden fork. Then they all began to dip it out and to eat. The ghosts are the same, or almost the same, as the tabbies, the Green Robe Father Adopter said. You being one, Thomas, should know a little what they are. They are animals or creatures or beings ripped out of their context and set to wandering. They are most often invisible, and at their most solid manifestation, they are still transparent, or at least slightly translucent, as you by candlelight. There are such indeed, Thomas asked, or are they mere country tales? They are real, and many of them are angry at their misplacement. Will a country tale eat all the flesh off a person and leave only the bones? The Green Robe asked. Well, I guess that is possible too. All things are. Of these ghosts, however named, we can only say that they be. In the early natural histories of Astrobe, they were given space. Now they are not. But they are creatures with minds superior to those of animals and of the order of men. They have bodies, however fragile and changing. They have been seen and heard and felt. They have killed and they have been killed. Their flesh has been in that very pot there, but it's steamed away to nothing, leaving only an aroma. They have cities and settlements. Most often they are reluctant to approach human settlements. It may be true that they are kept off by spells, but sometimes they do come and eat flesh, all the flesh of a person, cleanly and rapidly. Is superstition completely rampant in the boondocks of Astrobe? Thomas demanded. Why, yes, I suppose it is, the Green Robe said. The psychic force, the libido, is completely rampant here, that I know. Once, I believe, that was true on old Earth, and it lingered long in the Africas and Haitis of old Earth. You forget that the taming of the nature of this world has been a very short time. The feral strips are the powerhouses of Astrobe. They are the key to the weather and to the fertility of the land, to the water and to the water power, also to the power from the Grian sun. They are also, I believe, the psychic powerhouse of Astrobe, though their human persons are fewer in their thousands than is civilized Astrobe in its billions. Yes, superstition is very strong here, Thomas. If three persons in the feral strip imagine a thing strongly enough, however monstrous it may be, they can bring it into being. They can create a contingent body for anything they imagine, and it will be inhabited by certain unbodied spirits here. I've seen it done. I've helped do it. When children of the feral strips play monsters, they make monsters that can be seen and smelled, and which, on occasion, have eaten them up. Yes, here are all improbable persons and animals, spirits and half-spirits, clean and unclean, the archetypes of folk dreams. They are here alive and often fleshed. Here there is superstition, the beyond belief or overbelief, and a shaggy and pungent thing that leaves footprints and fang marks. Every thought or inkling, suppressed as irrational in rational Astrobe, comes out here and assumes flesh. Why, there is a stock breeder who breeds, improves, and slaughters for profit a creature that had its origin in the nightmares of Golden Astrobe. It was banned there by group therapy. It came out here and became physical fact. Father, there are no brains in your head, Thomas chided. I see that I will have to quarantine these regions more tightly if I do become president of Astrobe. I tell you, Thomas, that the civilized world of Astrobe is really of no consequence, the Green Robe said. It is but a thin yellow fungus growing on a part of the hide of the planet. Should this shaggy old orb shiver its hide uncommonly but once, the golden Astrobe civilization would be destroyed instantly. Bless this meat, it's good. It would be an act of charity to exterminate all the poor benighted persons in this area, and I will have it done, Thomas said. Aye, the meat is good. You'll run into trouble with the ecologists if you go to exterminating all the feral people, the Emperor Charles pointed out. The several thousand humans in the feral strips are part of the balanced ecology of Astrobe. Destroy them, and the balanced plant and animal life will go out of balance. This great cistern for civilized Astrobe would be changed and perhaps ruined. The scientists do not want that. We must be left here in such numbers as we maintain, they say, but we are not considered humans. We are rather animals to them, animals among animals. We are under the wildlife department. Foxfurk, I cast better lumps in the stool than a pack of you can say in a night's talk, Thomas said angrily, and I'm called to do it now. Begging your pardons, but I must go to the Henry, or is it called the Charles in this realm, Emperor? Call it what you wish, Thomas, the young emperor said, and then he winked at Evita, a wink that was like lightning between them, and Thomas caught it. What is the levity here? He demanded still more angrily. Cannot an honest man go to the Henry without being mocked? It is only that there is a citizen of Goslar with an unusual means of livelihood, the emperor said. It is a trade that has been passed down father to son. We will be listening for the lilt of your voice, good Thomas. And Thomas went out puzzled to the Henry. The man who had lost his wife, all except her bones, now brought in a little barrel of green lightning. She did so love to get foxy on it, the man said, and she will not be using it now. We will drink this night to my lost wife, except her bones, and praise her if we can find any words of praise for her. I cannot, but some of you are better with words than I am. I liked her, but I can't think of a thing to praise her for. To your wife, except for her bones, sang Evita, and lifted the little barrel in very strong hands to drink from the bung. The Emperor Charles did the same thing, and the Green Robe Father Adopter and Paul. But neither Maxwell nor Slider was able to raise the barrel to drinking height, and so were barred from participating. Any others? Bang, bang. You broach a bung, and there's two who'll be there immediately if they're anywhere to be found. Walter Copperhead the Necromancer and Rimrock the Ansel were in the shanty room. Copperhead raised the barrel high and drank deeply. Rimrock, who had a peculiar physique, did it in a way that might seem awkward to a man, but he did it competently and gurglingly. Where have you fellows been? Paul asked. Killing killers, Copperhead whooped. You'd none of you be alive this night if we hadn't. You're careless in your wanderings. This is a barbarous way to drink anyhow, Slider bemoaned, badly hurt that he was barred from festivity by his bodily weakness. In civilized Astrobe, the mere touch of the electrode or electric needle will give a much finer effect, the golden glow. What are you, pigs, that you swig intoxicant in physical form? Hush, half-man, the Emperor Charles commanded, and he raised his hand. We listen. And then came the high, angry lilt of the voice of Thomas from the little Henry out back of the royal shack. All the frustration of the ages was in that furious denunciation that Thomas was loosening on someone. Evita and the Emperor Charles and the Green Robe and the man who had lost his wife except her bones all went into spasms of laughter. Copperhead's goat guffaw was one of the great things, and the primordial giggle of the oceanic rimrock was something beyond comprehension of common ears. What is it? Paul chuckled. I hate to be left out of a thing. Why, Paul, there's that citizen of Goslar with the unusual livelihood, the Green Robe chortled, hardly able to contain himself as the Thomas voice rose even higher. He sits on the pot day and night, and there is but one public pot in the city of Goslar. He will not move to give place till he is paid a coin. Threats and beatings will not move him, only a coin. Here, good Thomas, what a fine angry voice he does have. But the citizens of Goslar have him where it hurts. Oh, stop it, Rimrock, Evita laughed. You'll rupture yourself with that giggling. What a region, Paul sighed with a broken grin. I could almost agree with Thomas that it should be more tightly quarantined. There is creative thinking at work in this, though. I'm not sure I've ever met its equal in civilized Astrobe. The angry voice of Thomas had died down to a bitter grumble. After a bit, Thomas came back into the big room, very red in the face. Does anyone here have a Stoimanov Detain? He asked out of his red, stony face. Paul gave him one. It was a pewter coin of small value in civilized Astrobe, but apparently the dollar in use here on the Ferrol Strip. Thomas went out again. It is presumed that he paid the coin to the citizen of Goslar, was given access to the pot, and relieved himself. He did at any rate return to the big room in somewhat better humor, and yet with a certain reserve, as though defying them all to carry it any further. It all reminds me of something. Tom smiled, though his smile was nearly as crooked as that of Paul, and there was still a bitter rasp to his voice. It reminds me of something for which I cannot find a name. I still believe that the vision of Golden Astrobe is the perfect thing, and that the extravagances here in the Ferals are monstrosities below the human level. But perhaps the golden perfection should be suspended for about 5 minutes a day for the refreshment of the soul. Yes, perhaps it should. Thomas was able to lift the barrel and drink from the bung, and it loosened him a little. Green lightning is fun when the golden perfection is not immediately at hand. Evita told the story of the devil and the wife from Culpeper, of what souvenir she took from him with a sharp knife, and why to say hung like the devil means half hung. The Green Robe told about the alien from Goots, who came to that very hotel in Goslar and relaxed in a pile in the middle of the floor. Sure, they thought he was a great wheel of cheese lying there, and they sliced him up in 100 slices, and each citizen of Goslar ate one. That alien from Goots still raises hell with all of them. He cannot pull himself together, and he refuses to be ejected. All citizens of Goslar have a certain green look on their faces. That is the reason. The Emperor Charles the 612th told one. Walter Copperhead told about the fellow who courted the woman to get to examine her entrails. I'll put them back, he said. I'll put them back and sew them in again. I just want to go over them once. No, 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 the lady said. Boy, I thought I'd had some woolly propositions before. Paul told one. The man who had lost his wife, except her bones, told one. And Thomas told a concatenated drollery with all the obscene parts in Latin. Rimrock told one, an oceanic spoof so outre that it took the breath away and turned the liver green. Then the barrel was empty. At that moment, the night guard of Goslar blew one blast on his trumpet to indicate that all was well with the night. And after a moment, he blew a little scurry to indicate that it was not so well as all that things were prowling. The Emperor Charles and all the travelers went to sleep in the straw, a sleep broken only by the giggling of Rimrock from time to time. If something tickles one of those Ansels, he stays tickled for quite a while. And the skulls of 599 emperors were empty-eyed in their niches on the wall. Golden Astrobe was a creature with a fair face for all men to see, but out behind she had a sting in her tail. And we will follow Thomas's adventures further next time.